Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up this week's theme of spectacular endings with a group called Kubbi, Kubbi, Kubbi. I probably mispronounced it at least once, but I probably pronounced it right once. So we're going to stick with that. I think they're too small of an artist to have had an interview. I looked for a way to pronounce it properly and I could not find any such place where the artist called themselves by name. So just gonna have to kind of wing it there. We're gonna be looking at the track Formed by Glaciers off of the Ember album, which Ice and Fire. That's really interesting to pair together there. This is a 2015 album from them. Let's dive into it and see what they're bringing to the table today. So I initially thought that the second piano hit in each phrase was a little behind, kind of taking its time, stretching time out a little bit. But no, apparently not. At least not now that we have our bells in. Ooh. I love the muted bass kick. Very warm. Definitely fits the Ember title. Not so much Formed by Glaciers. We'll see where this goes though. Man, that whole 3-note progression at the end of the full phrase is so good. Especially within all the new context of the strings and the bells. So clean. Yeah, very cool to be placed in that. It's like the snare, but it's less immediate. It's almost like digitized shakers. You know what it is? Oh my god, it sounds like some of the percussive elements come straight out of the Game Boy, original Game Boy's sound chip. So the percussion was giving us a 6/8 vibe, and the bass came in and laid down the quarter notes of a 4/4. And I hadn't even really noticed we shifted time signatures until I heard that bass. We had some really cool uh, polyrhythmic ideas in there, though. Polymetric, sorry, multiple time signatures. Dude. Yes. Do we have the tremolo guitar off to the left? Yeah, that was gorgeous. And it's the last track on the album. That is definitely a way to wrap an album up. Absolutely gorgeous. Um, what's really cool here is that this was more of what I was expecting this week. I kind of figured Spectacular Endings was going to be a post-rock style theme. And did we get... I don't remember now. It's pretty bad. I've completely forgot what we've listened to this week. It's been a whirlwind for me. Not going to get into that. This isn't a vlog, but I tell you, this week has been a blur. Um, but yeah, post-rock style is how I feel this. It's electronic in nature and sound. It explores a lot of electronic soundscapes. It's very interested in movement between ideas, but each idea tends to stick around for a while, and we slowly layer up the thing. It's a series of slow burns, honestly, is what this track feels like to me. And the ending being not only just the biggest moment of the track, but also a culmination of everything we've heard before, or at least of several things that we've heard before, is such a post rock idea to me. It's one of the genres that I think does it really well within what I'm usually aware of. I mean, classical does some of this stuff too, especially modern classical, and we did have some modern classical this week too, but post rock's always, I think, the genre that's going to come to mind for this style of composition. And like I said, I'm just kind of surprised we didn't get more of that this week. But yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous. I I'm sold on this artist. Um, Dang, is this their? No, they did have two albums after this. And spot up. There we go. Oh, they did the soundtrack for Sky Rogue. I don't even know what game that is. And then they did. Oh, that's a single. Oh, there's another album from 2018. Seems to be their latest album. And 2020 is their. Oh no, they had an EP. Okay, in 2021. Yeah, I got to get into them though. If anything is even a fraction of as good as that one track was, I got some good stuff ahead of me. Oh, snap. All right, check this out real quick. Oh, you can't. I don't have anything set up to do this. Wait, can I do it this way? Yeah, so I don't normally need to share my Spotify app window, so I don't have anything set up to do that. But I can make a link and put it into Firefox. Yeah, that's a little big, but I wasn't expecting to do this. Here's the thing though. His artist picture is him holding up a classic Game Boy. So I don't think that the correlation I heard to some of the old Game Boy style sounds in here, particularly the percussion, but there's also this really wavy sound that reminded me of like getting hit, getting power ups, just a little quick jingle of two notes fluctuating back and forth that was used in so many games. I can't think of any specific effect, but I heard that style a lot. Back when I was younger and I had a Game Boy. And yeah, I don't think it's an accident or coincidence. I honestly think that he is inspired by some sounds from this old sound chip and purposefully injects them into his music. All right, enough me gushing. Enough of me gushing of this. I went real southern there. You just kind of remove words and syllables and you slur through a bunch of stuff. You start talking like this, and no one really know what you're talking about anymore, but you do it. Enough me talking about that. Oh man. I don't know where I learned to speak a little bit more naturally, but I'm glad I did because y'all would not understand me half the time if I spoke the way that I grew up speaking. Enough of me waxing poetically about this track. Let's get into some nitty gritty. What's going on here? Layers, lots of layers, and this is what I love. Our opening sound, the chord progression that we introduced the track on, we took our time getting through this. We had the piano. We had the piano with the strings and the bells, and then we had piano with an electric guitar on top, or something like an electric guitar, a distorted sound. Um, and then we had the vocal layers on top of it, and this took us, geez, 3.5, 4 minutes maybe in this one section. Not even just really a slow burn. It wasn't building towards anything. It was just a foundation with a variety of ideas placed on top of it sequentially rather than layering them up over time. We have this foundation. We'll explore this. We'll explore that stack. We'll explore this instrument, that kind of vibe. The older ideas get tossed out in favor for the new ones, but the foundation remains. It creates this beautiful evolution of sound throughout this opening half of the track that explores what this one vibe could be in relationship to other melodies, to other instruments, to other atmospheres. It is really gorgeous to hear how the song evolves without going anywhere. And it is just a beautiful trip through the beginning of this song. And honestly, if they had stuck with that idea, I think I would have been cool with it. But around halfway through the track, they decide, okay, we're done with this core idea. We're going to take it away from the piano. They give it to the electric guitar sounding instrument for a little bit, and then that fades out and we start moving to brand new ideas. The chord progression continues to come back as a motif or a theme somewhere. Different instruments pick it up. The progression itself of those notes, sometimes just the root notes of the chords, exists throughout most of this track, but the core idea of having a piano as a foundation under everything is metamorphosized. Is that the word? It's altered, it's changed, it's placed everywhere else throughout the song. It's no longer the foundation, it becomes ornamental, it becomes secondary melody. It becomes a lot of stuff other than foundation so that we can explore new foundation. And we do. Other instruments tend to take up that same area. We get some synth pads that fill out the low end and provide a platform for the music to exist on. We explore a ton of interesting sounds here. We have some synth pads. We bring back some of the strings. The vocals are existing throughout most of these sections as well. And we begin to bring in some more not traditional, obviously digital sounds. Where up to this point, I'm pretty sure everything in here is sound library. It's all artificial. It still sounds like a glockenspiel. It still sounds like an electric guitar. It still sounds like whatever. Here, though, we begin to explore sounds that are obviously audio waves, sine waves. What are the other ones? I don't know. The square waves, the saw waves, sawtooth waves. I don't know what they're called. They're obviously digital, though. Modified, edited, put effects on them, sure, but the initial sound is not one of a traditional instrument in these. And this is where the Game Boy sounding stuff began to come in. And we had this really cool panning effect on this quasi snare sound that was running juxtaposed to an actual snare and bass sound, which just reminded me that there's that muffled bass drum at the beginning of the track. That was just phenomenal. I love that. It ties in with a lot of the characteristic of the instruments that we had in that opening 3 minutes. It gave us that percussive beat, but also didn't stand out. Everything was warm and airy and fuzzy, and so this was too. They found a way to make a bass drum feel ethereal. Just, jeez, so good. But yeah, we come here, we got these digital drums, and a 6/8 was introduced, and I didn't pick up on it at first. But the more I listened, I'm like, oh yeah, this is 6/8. But what really caught me off guard was that this bass guitar sound, just the low end, boom, 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 boom. It came in on this rigid pattern, rhythmic pattern, and it was running against what the snare and bass drum are doing. I'm like, what's going on here? So I count them out. I'm like, no, they're playing four per bar. Okay, so they're not the problem. Where's this polyrhythmic thing coming from? And it was the digital snare and bass the whole time. They introduced a 6/8 feel that completely went under my radar. And it was so cool to feel that polymetric idea toward the end of the section. I'd love to go back and listen to it again. I probably will go back and listen to it again. Knowing that that's what's going on there and find out and feel and engage with it when it makes that change rather than towards the end, because by the time I pointed it out to y'all, it was over. As soon as I was like, oh, there's polymetric idea going on here, we moved on to the next section. I hope some of you rewound it and checked that out because it was pretty cool. And then this took us to the big ending, and this had everything. It had the dual vocals, it had the piano, it came back. We had the strings, we had the guitar. I don't think we had the digital drums. I could be wrong about that. The motif came back in full power, full chords here, and it was just this beautiful short ending to it all. A nice 30 or 40 second reminiscing of everything we just explored before petering out and finishing the song on something a bit more simple, a bit less bombastic. A return to form, if you will, mimicking and paralleling the beginning of the track. just an absolutely gorgeous flow of ideas, the natural movement between concepts, everything informs what happens next. Nothing comes out of nowhere. Everything comes from somewhere. And it lends itself to just be an exceptionally gorgeous song that feels like it naturally takes up its 7.5 minutes, never leaves me bored, but still surprises me somehow. There were times when I figured the song would go in one direction and it didn't. Intensity would rise and it didn't. I figured intensity would fall and it rose instead. Kept me on my toes, but everything still made sense. It wasn't chaotic or esoteric. It was just working outside the cookie cutter directions that songs typically go in. And part of that is the chord progression itself, which, yes, is just so phenomenally beautiful. And like I said, the last three chords of the progression is everything. I can't even really explain why it makes me feel the way I do. There is tension and release and resolution in a place I wouldn't expect it. It moves towards a tense brightness that makes perfect sense. I can't imagine the song going anywhere else, but it's simply not where I expect it to go. I find it most interesting that they can take something so somber, not somber, quiet, serene, ethereal, and transform it by the end of the track into something grounded, full bodied. They haven't changed much at all. In fact, we've just incorporated a bunch of the things we have explored in the track, and yet it feels more solid than ever by the end. I was going to say that I'd go check some lyrics, but I didn't hear any. I don't think there are any. Nope. This is an instrumental track. So, I guess that wraps it. This was just gorgeous. I got to figure out who suggested this and see if they know anything else in this realm because this is gorgeous. I'll be checking out some albums from them. I don't want to say the name again because I'm gonna pick the wrong one and mispronounce it. I want to say Kubbi though. That's probably Cubby was probably right too. Kubbi was probably wrong. I don't know. They're awesome. Maybe I hope they send an email to me or leave a comment. And if nothing else, just let me know how to pronounce their names. So when I tell other people about this awesome music, I don't spread misinformation about pronunciation. Those are my thoughts on their track Formed by Glaciers. This isn't the end. I have one more thought. What does the title mean? I mentioned the song is warm and fuzzy throughout. Glaciers are not that. But glaciers, I don't know, they move slowly, they take time to form, but this isn't the forming of glaciers. This is formed by glaciers. Glaciers have created this feeling. Yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts on that, please let me know. I guess, Mr. Artist Person, if you drop by, other than a pronunciation, I'd also like to know about the title. uh, all right, so those are my thoughts on Formed by Glaciers. Let me know yours down in the comments. Give me your thoughts, opinions, perspectives on any of this. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree in there. It takes you to this menu right here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. Alright, that wraps it up for this one. We do have some brand new music coming out next that I'm going to check out. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.